So I've chosen this video today to share with you so that we can marry up the dog psychology and how that's effective with humans. And would it be like people in your family or people that it is that you're working with, anything that I use it mostly, I think when I see it come through myself, it's to do with through my daughter, I see it a lot. And really being able to utilize that with my daughters so that I can be better with other people, so to speak. And so I wanted to share some things that have come through with this video here. I just thought it was a good video, a good place to start, where I can show you um, like certain aspects of what your psychology might be actually saying, what your psychology, physiology, your communication, like your body language, the energetic communication that it is that we're having in communication with our dogs, so that we can better utilize that with with humans. Because the thing is that with animals, they'll give you an immediate response. With people, when you're working with people, you're always going to get a response that is not pure. With animals, we get pure communication feedback. And I think that this is super powerful when it comes to working between animals and humans and how we can build that up. So, with that being said, we're going to go through this video. I'm going to point some things out to you and how it is that you can relate that to your own personal life. So here we have a dog, and Victoria's instructed the two people to leave to see how the anxiety works in the dog. And so that's exactly what the dog's doing. It's just a separation anxiety. And this is like really common when it comes to obviously with people, with children, especially if they're being needy or if they're being clingy. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that we also don't want to nurture and honor that because it can manifest into other aspects in the adult. And this can also be as a result of an adult having separation anxiety from the animal and seeking the likes of comfort through the animal. And so, and I'm saying animal because you can do this with any animal. It's not just dogs, it's cats, rabbits, whatever, horses, whatever it is that you've got. We can seek comfort and connection through them and utilize them to fulfill a need within us that is not being fulfilled or has not been fulfilled. It has become like a childhood trauma, so to speak. And that's what we're utilizing it for. So instead of, like this is where you get like lap dogs and things like that there and lap pets. And that's so that we can fulfill a need within ourselves rather than actually addressing the situation. We're not having a dog for the sake of having a dog and a dog being a dog. We're getting pets and we're domesticating them to the extent that we're actually passing on and nurturing negative behaviors. And so the same thing can come through with our children as well. So as parents, if we do not recognize, what's coming up within ourselves, then how can we help our children? And instead, what can happen is that our children experience something and it's maybe painful, it's maybe anxiety inducing. And instead of addressing that within the child, we buy into that emotion. We become sad because we're like, oh my God, I can see your pain and this is so bad. And or like you're really anxious, like, and I totally understand that you're really anxious because I would be anxious, and then that means fear. And so I'm going to pull you back rather than empowering you and getting you to step forward and be in a support system, So yes, so we really want to honor the our animals, our dogs, horses, cats, rabbits, whatever it is that you've got. We really want to honor them for being their own independent self, as we do want to honor our children and for them to be their independent selves as well, because at least then we get to nurture them in their own environment rather than buying into it with our own problems. So I hope that that's clear. So I've paused it just here because really what I want you to do is I want you to be able to see the body language of what it is that Victoria is showing here, the way that it is that she's standing, her shoulders are square, she's standing with a nice strong posture. She's very relaxed in herself. So she's got one knee slightly bent. That might be because like she's maybe slightly adjusting herself, but she's very relaxed, but yet very strong and confident in what it is that she's doing. And that's a really beautiful posture right there. Her arms are super straight, they're clear, and she's very secure in her boundary on who she is energetically as her entire being. And the dog's really noticing this and he's really paying her attention. And then in comparison to here, the shoulders are kind of slumped forward, and we've got arms crossed over, feet and legs are very close together. And this is just keeping very small, very within herself and really kind of quite tucked in. And so that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just as an observation for you to be able to kind of look at that and see what it is that's going on. Obviously, she's in a learning state, so she's learning. The thing is as well, also to actually notice is that she's looking at the dog and Victoria is not. So this here is like, I've got to check in on you or I've got to connect with you. There's got to be this energy connection. And again, there's nothing wrong. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. She's learning. And so it's important, obviously, for you to see when it is that you're learning. Victoria's very confident in herself and she's looking ahead. And so she's addressing everything else that's up here and pretty much ignoring everything else that's going down here, because that's what it is that she's saying energetically, that you're there. I can see that you're there. You're also a dog, and, you know, dogs do what dogs do. So to put this into like human language, we do this with our children as well, you know, so we can be prone to giving constant attention rather than just allowing them to be on their own and for them to be within themselves. And so I'm not saying walk away and leave your children. It's not anything to do with that there, but it's more so to do with the fact that really respecting boundaries and respecting space so that the person or animal can feel what it is that they're feeling in that moment, good, bad, or ugly. We can be a really strong support network system for another person when we are okay with other people's emotions. And generally, when we're not okay with other people's emotions, it's because we're not okay with our own. Okay, so I'll play this forward. So here, just to give you some info on what's actually happening in the video, Victoria's given the instruction for the dog to stay. And then she's walking out the room and then coming back in and feeding treats. And that's cool. There's nothing good or bad about how you train a dog. I do have other examples and a little backstory with anxiety. I had a dog over in Australia, and I used to live in Brisbane. And so it was in the tropics. We got loads of thunderstorms. And I had a dog who used to be absolutely petrified with thunderstorms. And within 3 months, I was able to train him to sit outside with me through massive thunderstorms whilst he sat underneath my chair. So he kept himself safe, but he wasn't leaning up against me, or he wasn't, running away, or wasn't doing anything. He was just sitting with me through the thunderstorms. And I did all that through without any treat training. I don't do any treat training. And that's just how it is that I've done it. There's other things that you can do for separation anxiety. Okay, so here, so now that Victoria's given the traits over to the woman here, and she's going to start doing the same thing to give the command for the dog to sit down, stay, and then she's going to walk out of the room and then come back in again. With this here, really focusing on her body language and how it is that she's communicating with the dog, because this will show you, and again, she's just learning, so it's all good. There's nothing wrong with it. She's going to be very, very connected with the dog in the sense of when you're doing things like this here, you really need to break the connection, break the rapport. So I'll show you through first. So she's here. So the dog's decided where it's going to sit rather than coming round here. That's okay. There's still this like quite a hunched over. There seems to be a bit of tension, and so yeah, play it through. So she's walking away, and notice here, this is where she turns round. For me, this is like a danger zone, because the thing is that a danger zone in the sense of this is what she's thinking inside of her head. Has the dog stayed or not? And so when you're questioning something like that there, you're not leading with an expectation that that's what's happening. And so this is where a muddle of boundaries. Are you going to stay? Are you going to go? Are you coming with me? Are you staying there? Are you doing what it is that I've asked you? Rather than just expecting, right, so this is what I want you to do. I want you to sit, I want you to stay, and I'm going to walk away, and then I'm going to come back again. And that's what it is. And there's nothing wrong here. There's nothing going on, and there's no concern. But this turn round here says there's question for concern. And so, as you can imagine, exactly what happens, the dog walks through to follow her, because she has made that energetic connection with the dog to come with her into the other room. So again, we have this same like idea with humans, where we go, oh, can you do this? Without really, claiming or expecting or having that energetic like drive through what it is that you're saying, what it is that you're meaning, and what you're expecting, your expectation to be with that. This isn't to be confused with high expectations of what it is that you're expecting, but really just clearing what it is that you're asking for, and clearing your communication in the sense of this is what needs to be done, and this is my and what I'm asking for is to be expected of. And that just comes with really good confidence and clear boundaries. So just to be clear with your communication, it's over 50% that is through your physiology. There's 38% with your tonality, and only 7% with your words. That's what it's been categorized and broken down as. So it just goes to show that most of our communication comes from our physiology. And physiology is literally just how we stand, how it is that we move, what is the energy that it is that we're feeling inside when we are doing a certain thing. Okay, so I'm playing this through here. So here again, just watch her physiology. She's very hunched over. So I've got quite an energetic breed, as she sleeps on the sofa when I'm recording this. She's a Labrador cross Australian Kelpie. So she has, I always say, like indoors in the house, she is like really calm, super placid, great Labrador dog. And then when we go outside, she is a typical Kelpie, where she could go for hours and hours. Like we go hiking and stuff, and she loves it. She's got really, really high energy. Because of that high energy, she is prone to a lot of excitement. And so with her, it's really about practicing calmness all the time. And I never use like a squeaky voice. Like I never talk to her like some people would talk to their dog. I always talk to her as though I'm talking to another person, another adult, and I have that respect for her, in a sense of that's my communication with her. And when I do that, then energetically, she really calms down. She responds really well. Leaning over, things like that there can cause, with my dog especially, is this, oh, it's like an over nurturing or excitable posture that really leads to like poor communication. So here, just really want to recognize and get recognized in her physiology again. She's quite hunched over. The shoulders are still quite tense. She's leaning quite forward. Good, strong eye contact there. Let's see what happens. So this is exactly here. So, okay. So the thing is that there's programming between the two already that needs to be broken. So he's pawing, to get the treat. He knows that he's got the treats, and he normally gets everything that it is that he wants off this lady. And so he's just kind of expecting that, and that's what he's projecting out there. She's asking for a wait or a stay position. I use wait. They're saying stay here, but she's also hunched over, and like it reminds me of like talking to a child. when you're kind of leaning over and you're going, yes, darling, what can I do? How can I help you? Are you okay? And with that kind of communication, you don't have a really strong physiology boundary, like speaking to your pets like an adult almost, And it doesn't mean that I'm completely rigid in my communication. Like we certainly do have fun, but I've got such a high energy dog that if I was to speak to her like that all the time, she would just go off the rails and just run around crazy. So with my dog, like I certainly have to keep this kind of a good tonality as though I'm talking to an adult so that I'm not invoking that excitement, which is what's kind of going on here. It's just excitement. So yeah, so there's just like the pattern break there of he thinks that she's asking for or a high five where she's actually asking for a stay. Dog's just learning, she's just learning. If she stood up strong and confident like Victoria is there, she would certainly have more of a strong boundary of who she is. Like even the gentleman here, he's totally relaxed, he's in the sidelines, but he's standing up nice and strong, and he's just kind of watching in. Like Victoria certainly has like the power here where she's just like the arms are straight, she's really here for intentional purposes, and of course she's working. But yeah, so if she stood up straight, she would have a more energetic field in her communication with the dog. And so I'm relating with and I keep going back to kids, but I've really built I think my basis on being a mother through dog psychology, and it's just been really powerful for me, and I will go more into that later. But there's certainly times where I'm with my daughter and like we're playing Barbies and we're messing about, and like we're having lots of fun, and I'm doing like lots of funny voices and stuff like that, and we get to have play and we get to have fun. And then there's this other time where I really get to honor her as a growing child. She's 4.5, and I really speak to her on like a not an adult to adult conversation, of course not, but there's certainly this communication, this respect that she's really growing into herself. She is her own human, she is her own individual, and I really respect and honor that in her. And so I will stand more like this with her, and I go, okay, come on, darling, talk to me. Like, what's going on? What is it that we need to work through, or what is it that you're asking for, or what is it that you're looking for? What are your needs? And I act from that space here. And then there's other times where we can come into this, like more of a nurturing, loving parent in communication. I do the same thing with my dog as well. So this is really interesting here, this bit here. So Victoria gives her the instruction that when the dog is given a negative behavior, that she's to turn around and it's disconnecting from the pupster. And in the disconnect, it's an energetic disconnect. So if you don't mean this, like internally in your head, in your body, when you're thinking and feeling, if you don't mean this, the dog will respond to exactly what you're doing and what you're meaning by your communication, by your physiology. The dog can sense so much more than what we can. It doesn't speak our language. So back to the communication, if it's 55% physiology, that's energy, that's what your dog is reading. Also, here's tonality, of course, when you're talking. So if you're going to go really high pitched and be like, oh my God, like this is so exciting, like your dog is going to respond to that. If you're speaking monotone and you're just like, no, like this is what we're doing, this is my expectation, this is my boundary. And so your dog's going to respond to that, because when you're talking, you're going to create that energy within you. And your children are also going to, and anybody that it is that you're connected with, your partner, your colleagues, your friends, everybody's going to get this, but your dog is going to give you, or your animal is going to give you your immediate response into what it is that you are communicating. So the dog gets a little bit excited because she's not really being clear on, and she's not really being completely grunt. She keeps turning around and she's looking to be like, oh, where are you? What are you doing? And yes, there's other things going on. There's more communication and stuff that's happening there, but she's not really meaning it. So the dog comes back in, jumps in. There, she meant it that time. So I'm just going to put that back a wee second. Put it back a wee second more. So the dog jumps up and she goes like, no. So she really pushes them off and swings herself around because she goes, no, I mean it. Like, And so this is where like this is where you're thinking and you're feeling is really in alignment, so that you're pushing your dog away, creating that boundary. And you're really expecting that, like, no, I'm not messing about. This is what I'm saying. So do it. And you can do that from love and nurture and not dominance. You don't have to be domineering to do this. And I would certainly never encourage domineering. Domineering is not being confident. I certainly promote confidence with love and passion and compassion and respect. Like, we certainly need to respect them. Otherwise, we're going to break trust. What are we doing it for if there's the case? And the thing with dominance as well, dominance comes from fear and insecurity. And so if you find yourself being dominant with your dog, in discipline, or with your children, with people, overly assertive, aggressively assertive, these are all fears and insecurities that are coming through. So it's not that there's anything wrong. It just means that it needs to be looked at so that we can actually work with those insecurities and really transcend them, so that we can come into the confidence of who you truly are, what it is that you're here to be and do and have. So I'm paused it here. What's about to happen is what we all do. My dog is notorious for this as well, Honey. She will always come up and nudge my hands like she's wanting attention. And sometimes I give it to her, sometimes I don't. And both is okay. But if she is overly excessive in coming up and bumping me, I will go through a period of time where I'm completely like saying, no, back off, move away, respect the boundary. And so it's really about Honey's doing good behavior, when my dog's doing good behavior, which is like really nice and calm, relaxed. Like at the moment, she's lying on the sofa. She's just chilling. So now's a really good time for me to go over and spend some time with her and cuddle her, because she's doing really good behavior, just chilled out, relaxed dog. And that's a really good behavior. So I'm going to press play again. So just watch the dog. She's going to, oh, wait a minute. I'll put it back a wee second, just so you can kind of see the whole picture. So sits down, dog goes straight over into owner's hands, and owner immediately is open to clapping the dog. So there's not anything wrong with this per se. I don't think there's anything wrong with anything. It's just that we need to recognize what's happening and why we're doing it, and what's going on. Is that these are just such unconscious behaviors and cues. So the dog comes in, once clapped, owner claps dog. Everything's fine. The dog's getting what it wants, and the owner's she's fine. She's wanting to give the dog claps, and that's fine. So the thing with the pupster here coming in and getting claps from the owner is that it's not that it's a major thing or a major problem. It's not a major problem at all. But the thing is that it just encourages and nurtures. It's just another way of nurturing another behavior that is a chain link to other things. And so it's not respectful of the boundary, and it's also not done in a calm nature. It's like an expectation. So the dog is expecting something, coming in with that expectation, and the owner is responding to that expectation. So this is a classic of where the dog trains the owner, not the owner training the dog. And the thing is as well is that if we put this into like the human communication, when somebody comes in and just asks for something, it's just like yes, 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 over giving, people pleasing. We're just giving and giving and giving, and we're not honoring or respecting our own space and our own boundary and really creating that. And so as a result of honoring that, creating that, then we get to allow others to honor and create and respect their own space as well. And for them, and it's, like when it comes to people pleasing and overgiving, it's like it's not okay to say no, where that's really not the case. So yes, you can come up, you can come and have a clap, you can come and have, and this is for the dog, of course, you can come and have a clap, and you can, let's interact. And then other times it's just like, no, it's not okay, you need to move away. And when the dog's in a better place energetically, it's just a breaking of a pattern break, where you're just breaking up the pattern so that you're releasing that expectation that the dog's coming in with. And that way that the owner reclaims the control or reclaims the boundary and the expectation for what the dog is to do, so that the dog can be happy without owner, and owner can be happy without dog. Everybody's happy individually, And then it means that nobody's relying on anybody else to fulfill needs. And instead, we are creating our own space, our own energy, our own boundaries, our own happiness, and meeting the other person there. So if your kids are always relying on you to play with them, if your kids are always relying on you to, to do things with them, to keep them entertained, especially in a world where access to TV, streaming, YouTube, iPads, phones, everything like that, it's always being entertained. It's always keeping me entertained. It's always, always doing something rather than just allowing them to be bored and be almost like a healthy rejection, of no, I'm not entertaining you right now. You've got to go and entertain yourself. And that's a really healthy thing to do. And again, it's done with love. It's not like, get out of my way, get out of my space, like bugger off or whatever. It's really done from a healthy place. That this is what I'm feeling right now. This is my boundary. And I'm asking you to respect that. If you have any questions at all, then please do get in touch with me. If you are enjoying this, then please like, subscribe. I will be doing more videos on this. And yeah, connect, do all the things. Okay, so here she is clapping. And I want you just to really focus on her physiology when she gets up. Bump, she's turned around. She's turned around with attitude. She's saying, no, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not playing this game. This is what I'm asking. This is what I'm expecting. Let's take that back a wee second again. And let's have a look at this. So she's about to, again, just watch what it is that she does when she stands up and turns around. Bump, no, not doing this. That whole hip and everything went out there. And she was just like, she stood up with absolute attitude. And there she goes again. And a good attitude, a beautiful attitude, So this is, again, the first time she stood up, attitude, hip went out. She's sitting back down. Now look, eye contact. The dog responds immediately. So when she sits back down, she creates eye contact and the dog responds. And so, when she stood up and she stood up with attitude, the dog respected that straight away. And then when she sat back down, she made eye contact. The contact is an energetic contact that says, come back into my space. You're almost inviting it. But when she made eye contact with the dog again there, the dog responded accordingly. Oh, so now barking. So he's just testing. That's probably more likely to be testing than anything else. Eye contact. And now he's testing. And she's not responded. If anything, she looked the other way, which is beautiful. So I think that is the end of this video here. Yeah, so I think that's the end of the video here just now. So I think that's all that it is that I have to share with you on this one here. Do let me know your thoughts. If you have any questions, if anything come through, I'd love to know. Otherwise, yeah, I'm really excited to share more with you about this and how it is that I have used animal psychology to work with and in dealing with people and working with people. Yeah, I will share more with you soon. Otherwise, for today, thank you very much. And yeah, we'll connect soon. Take care.